Awesome. So I want to say a very warm welcome to all our lifestyle champions who are joining us this evening. My name is Dr. Ore. I'm your lifestyle physician, lifestyle medicine physician and coach. I'm the founder of LCI, in case you're meeting me for the first time. And we've been having these Boost Your Confidence sessions for the past 1 year. We actually started, I think that was October last year, that we started having Boost Your Confidence sessions. And you might be wondering, what's the import of this session? It's just to boost your confidence, trying to make a lifestyle change at one time or the other. And sometimes along the line, you just get discouraged, you get frustrated, like, is this thing even working at all? Sometimes it's good to just listen to the story of someone who has gone through what you are going through, and that will boost your confidence in being able to sustain whatever lifestyle changes you have made. And so that's the reason behind this meeting. And in the past 12 months, we've had at least 8 persons who have come to share, their stories. So we have testified that they've had, they've been encouraged really by what is being done here in LCI. So let me just welcome everyone once again. We have Dr. Shionkolade and Mrs. Kolade who are hosting us tonight. We have Mr. Oni, welcome sir. We have Fumi Oyelakin, my dear friend, you're welcome. We have Dr. Odiyemi, my colleague, you're welcome. We have Mr. Lekon Biobaku, Mrs. Olushola Makinde, also my dear sister, my sister as well, Toyin Adedewe, Dr. Oyebimpe Akinbumi, and then of course Mr. Adedewe, and then our guest for tonight. She's already here on the call, and we're going to go right to the business of the day. We don't want to take your time because we usually run this for about 60 minutes. So we have Mrs. Owolabi who is here with us. And the way it's going to run, we're going to be asking her a few questions, and she will share her story with us about how she made a positive lifestyle change. And then if you have any specific questions for her on what was challenging, what was difficult, what was easy, what tips, helped her to be able to get to the point that she is today, then you have the opportunity to do so. So as we go on, don't hesitate to drop your questions and your comments in the chat box, and that will make it so interactive. All right, so I want to welcome Mrs. Owolabi, Mrs. Bojo Owolabi to the floor. She's a registered nurse, and she is in the caring profession, and she's married happily with children, and she's just going to share a bit of her story with us. So hello ma, are you there? Can we see your face? All right.
Hello.
You're welcome, ma.
Thank you, Dr. Ore.
I know you just caught a flight back to Lagos, so we are so honored to have you, despite the fact that you were on a flight not too long ago. Thanks for joining us, and you're welcome to share with us. Maybe you just start by introducing yourself, maybe saying a bit more about yourself and how you got involved with Lifestyle Champions International, and what you've learned so far, and how you've been able to make some positive changes in your life.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ore. I'm glad and I'm highly honored to be invited to share a little bit of my testimony. I'm Bojubola Owolabi. I'm a registered nurse midwife, a nurse tutor. I rose through the ranks and files of the civil service to become the provost of the Premier College of Nursing, Elele, Ibadan. Married with wonderful children. Some of them are married. I'm a grandmother.
Wow.
So I'm just 55 years old. Well, I got in contact with Lifestyle Champion International last year, precisely October, when we were taking through some few things that we need to do. Well, when I was a young lady, before I got married, I weighed just 49 kg. I'm so tiny. And but by the time I got married in 1991, I had my first daughter. I just became overweight because I started weighing something close to 69 kg. And even as at that time, I had pregnancy-induced hypertension, and I started taking some medications and all stuff. Anyway, I didn't see much problem until 11 years ago, or let me say 2011, when I was having premenopausal syndromes. I started having all manner of symptoms, palpitation, all sorts. I can't even fix some of them, consistent headache and all of that. Actually, that was the time I knew I needed to do something. And you know, when you are in a situation, you have people that are your colleagues and your friends, of course, of the same age group. When we share our notes, I find that this is not really something that is abnormal, it's so common. So that was actually the first time I started going out of exercise, trying to do a little bit of modification. Anyway, but it's the Lifestyle Champion International took me to a better, gave me an opportunity to have a better view anyway. And of course, it makes it real. When you do something and you don't know whether it's making an impact, except for the fact that maybe your weight is reducing and a little other things. But by the time I got in touch with Lifestyle Champion International, our feedback is quite exciting. And that's even it was a great encouragement. Let me put it that way, because I see other people do. There are practical things that are placed on the web, on our WhatsApp page, that shows that you know, you are excited to want to give your own feedback as well, because you are sure that somebody is there who is going to encourage you, commend you, and you're also going to listen to other people too as they make their own steady progress. And that was a beautiful and a beginning of a good journey for me. In fact, I never knew I needed to have how nature is also wonderful to us. So, but I begin to make conscious efforts. Not only going for exercise, not only watching what I eat, but also admiring the work of nature. And no wonder, when I have another opportunity to move to our retirement home and have a garden, do some other things that can make us to continue to enjoy the work of nature. So I must say that, but most importantly, I'm glad to let you know that I'm not only making progress, but I'm telling of some of the medications that have been over the years, more than a decade now. Because I now see that, because at a point, even though I was trying to do exercise, I was trying to do my best, but then it wasn't really reflecting. That's one thing with medications. It's not really actually reflecting. All I see my doctor tell me is, we are going to review the drugs, so we are going to add this. So but by the time I became more consistent in saying what, as I flew in just, I think around 5, go back home around 5. I know I needed to take a nap, and I should not forget to take my dinner before it is too late. So I had to quickly rush to do all of that. So it's a real wonderful experience for me. And I must confess that I feel good. In fact, my colleagues, they say, Ms. Owolabi, while others are running, because I can't forget that our coach will tell us as much as possible, if you have opportunity, take the stair instead of taking a lift. So I didn't even know. Somebody was just giving that recommendation yesterday morning. Say, Ms. Owolabi, I saw you are just doing up, pump, up the stair. Everybody, all of them, they will be waiting to take the lift. But me, and of course, even though I also need to add that I even have a coach, but that's not enough. Sometimes when I leave home, I'm like used to this exercise that I'll just see myself, I just put myself inside my truck. I know if I go to the gym, even when I'm not. So it's a great thing. And to me, one of the greatest things that anybody can do for ourselves or himself is invest in yourself, in your health. It's a great thing. It's a great job that you are doing. I'm glad that I'm I got in touch or in contact with you at a crucial time in my life, and I'm really good, feeling good. I know I'm just starting. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ma. That is highly insightful and encouraging to know that when you got into touch with Lifestyle Champions International, it's made a difference, because that's what we're trying to do. We're encouraging everyone to make healthy choices every day. And I want to touch on something that you mentioned. You know, you had been taking a lot of medication, but you noticed that the medication wasn't really making all the difference. You know, they just kept on reviewing and reviewing. It was not until you started being consistent with your lifestyle changes, such as exercise, that you saw that there was, you know, a lot of progress and you started feeling much better. And I really want to say that studies have shown that people have improved outcomes, you know, with whatever medication or treatment they are receiving when they are compliant with lifestyle modification. And what are the lifestyle modifications we're talking about here? We're talking about healthy eating. So we're talking about deciding to choose an apple over a bottle of drink, for example, or to choose an apple above a meat pie, or to choose a bottle of water above a fizzy soft drink. So it's just as simple as that. And did you have any challenges choosing foods? As in, were there things that you were taking before that you decided to just stop taking, maybe soft drinks or sweets or snacks? Was there any particular one that you had a challenge dropping?
Well, interestingly, even I can still remember as a baby, I'm not somebody that is a fan of sweets, all of this. But then, because I go to workshops and programs a lot, and sometimes you can't be choosy when you are in a conference. But then, one thing that really assisted me since as I got in touch with Lifestyle Champion International is I begin to make sure that when I want to go for a conference, I'll pack my foods. Like this journey I just came back from now, I packed tomato, packed carrot, packed cucumber, packed pear apple, all because it's already part of me. In fact, there's one thing that I will always be grateful for, and that is the fact that I no longer have issues with indigestion, GIT issues. Very crazy one, because once it is 6:30, I'm done for the day. But if I'm not eating, it means that it's good for me that day. I'm just going to take maybe just take pap and take the vegetable. If I'm so hungry, because at times I have a meeting, drag it late into the night. Once I get back home, it's going to be vegetable and pap, nothing else. Well, I will say I will not say the only thing that was a real challenge for me is how to make sure that I don't eat once it is 7. That's a big challenge. But because I know I feel good. If I eat after 7, I must keep awake for another 3 hours. Otherwise, the following morning, I will have alteration in my bowel movements. I will empty everything. So that one gave me an insight that, okay, this food is no longer this important at this stage, that this stomach wants to take a rest. And of course, over time, I even realized that there are sometimes I'll just give myself a break. What do I mean by that? I just tell myself that today, I'm just going to take all manner of my fruits, parsley, celery, carrots, cucumber. I just put it in the water and be sipping all day. Like that, I'll just cleanse my bowel. I do that regularly. And sometimes I just take a efirin and ewuro, just squeeze it and take a small bottle, like a small cup, like the one we use for Holy Communion. Just sip it. I can do it for 3 days just to make sure that that's one thing that I'm really grateful. So I no longer have to go and be looking for, but that's even greater than the one I'm talking about with high blood pressure. Because this one, no, I'll go and be looking for ulcer kits, look at this, but since I've been religiously following my bowl of fruits in the morning, take a bath. This day I go for apple, pack the carton of apple. I just put it in the fridge and be taking it. An apple per day is something that I really enjoy these days. It's a blessing, I must confess. My weight, there are questions there already.
Oh, yes, ma'am. You can go ahead and answer.
Before, I've been weighing something. When I started, I was weighing 86 kg. Anyway, now I just weigh, I'm still working at it. Though many people say it's that you are so fit. If you've seen me for a long time and you are seeing me now, my weight has been consistently in 80. Although I'm still working at it. And sometimes I ask myself, why is this weight still 80? Because there was a time I actually was weighing 76. But like my coach, I have a coach who takes me in exercise. And my coach is just telling me that, well, maybe it's because you have long bones. Because that one, but I know my upper arm is even the greatest issue that gave me a lot of concern. Because I just noticed that the arm was flabby and I'm beginning to have extension to the armpit. No, that's not good. That's not good. If you see me today, I know that I'm healthy and fit because you can't see any fat, any fold, anywhere. Everywhere is fine. Even though I see with 80 kg, but to me, I had lost 13 kg from my upper arm. My upper arm was weighing double, but now, and of course, I could see that I'm making steady progress.
Wow. Please, can we just appreciate Mrs. Owolabi, for sharing this bit of her life with us. It's amazing, and it's inspiring as well. And this week I've been quite excited because I've encountered a number of my patients who made lifestyle changes. Maybe they started at the beginning of the year, somebody started last year, and it is now that they are really seeing the impact of those changes. And I will encourage you to just keep on being consistent, ma. Because like you said, sometimes our weight gets to this plateau and it seems as if nothing is really happening. You feel as if at that point in time, you haven't really seen the outputs compared with the inputs. But what I've discovered is that over time, there is usually a confluence of all the practices that one has had. And suddenly you discover that you're even losing weight without trying so much at that point in time. So that's why the consistency is important, because you could just discover that in a month or two, just being consistent with all that you've been doing, you just start losing weight. You might even start asking yourself, I hope I'm fine. Am I okay? I wasn't losing this much weight before. What's going on? And I've had a lot of people try to check in with me this week. At least 2 or 3 people have shared their concerns that I seem to have lost weight quite a bit in recent times, but they started their lifestyle like a year ago, 6 months ago. And at a point they were saying, doctor, is it really working? So consistency is key, and you mentioned the fact that this has helped your digestive processes. Yes, when we sleep at night, our body actually repairs itself. So when we stuff our body with so many things before we go to bed, then at the end of the day, we end up giving our body a lot of work to do. Instead of the body to slow down and to do other things, then your body keeps working at trying to digest that food. And so studies have shown that if we eat early, then it can aid our digestion. So she talked about keeping awake for another 3 hours, after eating. And so if we can eat earlier, you can even take a little walk, maybe a 10-minute walk after your meal to enhance digestion, and it will even help you sleep better. So from 86 to 80 kg is a big deal, ma. It's a big deal. I know some people who struggle to lose just 1 kg, 2 kg. So that's a big deal. So just keep on being consistent. There's something I want to share with us, everyone. For people who exercise regularly, and even when they are overweight, but they're exercising regularly, they are more likely to have better outcomes than people who are not overweight, but they're not exercising regularly. So we shouldn't think that because I don't weigh so much anyway, on the scale, I'm okay, I'm just 70-something, I'm 60-something. Well, your BMI is within normal range, and you think, well, I don't need much of exercise anyway. Studies have shown that the outcomes when it comes to heart disease, when it comes to controlling blood sugar, and several other things, they are better for people who are even overweight, but they're exercising regularly. So please, we need to be fit. And there are lots of things that happen when we exercise and when we control our meal portions. I don't know, do we have any specific questions? Let me look at the chat box to see. Okay, she shared with us how much weight she has lost. Okay, what kind of foods are you eating now? So maybe you want to say something more about that, even though she's mentioned the fact that she takes fruits in the morning. At night, she takes mostly vegetables, especially if it's late, or some pap. Are there any other foods that you take, Ma?
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Ore. Well, I'm going to say this. I eat what I like most of the time. But what I like, number one, I don't take bread. I take it sparingly. Whether white bread or wheat bread, I don't take that much. So what I take, basically, I make sure that at least in the morning, at night, I take all manner of fruits. In the morning, most of the time, I can just take, I can blend my cucumber with apple. I do that often. Once I'm done with my exercise, that's the first thing I do. In fact, my coach comes around twice in a week, but I did 2 extra for my 2 extra days to make up for 5 days. Because I'm looking at, I saw the progress and I'm excited. So nobody is pushing me. I do it. In fact, recently I had to tell my husband, I said, okay, I need to buy table tennis, so that if I'm not even going to do any serious one, I'm going to get myself engaged in a complete workout while I play the table tennis. But on my meal, basically, I look for things like ofada rice instead of white rice. I go for potato instead of just taking a lot of yam. And as much as possible, when I take all of this, I make sure that I look for things that are natural. Natural in the sense that, in fact, I'd remove Maggi from my soup now. I don't take Maggi again. So that's my own choice. My children will say, I look for other natural things to just make sure that. And as much as possible, I think I did work a bit to make sure that I just don't go and buy my fruits anywhere. I go where I know that is they basically sell organic fruits. So most of the time I go to ShopRite to buy my fruits, either pear, apple, pear, plum. I buy a lot of pineapple, all manner of fruits. And I just tell myself, it's either I'm taking pineapple smoothie today. Sometimes I juice them, sometimes I take them raw, but most times I juice them. When I finish juicing, I put a little shaft to make sure that I'm not only taking a juice. So I take a lot of fruits and I take a lot of vegetable. Green vegetable, all manner of vegetable, ewedu. This is what I take basically. So all these other ones, amala, when I want to take, I eat amala a lot too, but it has to be a small portion with plenty vegetable and protein. That's what I do. And once it is 6:30, maximum 7, if I'm still awake and hungry, it must be fruits or salad. I'm not going to put any other solid in my mouth. That's the way my meal look like.
Well, that's really great. Thanks for sharing that with us, Ma. Is there anyone that has any other question for our guest? She has tried to summarize all the things that she has done that has made a difference. And I think they're quite simple. And you know, one of the things that we talk about in LCI, we talk about sustainability. You know, if you want to set a goal for yourself as per your meals, your exercise, your sleep, your relationships, there should be things that are sustainable. So taking fruits every day is sustainable. One just has to make it a priority and a habit. You can imagine someone traveling all the way from Ibadan to Abuja, and she packages her vegetables and her fruits because she's not sure of what she's going to get where she's going, and she packages it along. Isn't that awesome? Or you're going to work for the day, and you know that you might feel peckish somewhere along the line, and you don't want to be tempted to go and buy meat pie or to go and buy puff puff or something. You can package your apples or your plums or carrots, whatever, put it in a clean, nylon after washing at home. And you can snack on that while at work. So what I've gained from what you have said is that you can prepare towards your meal. You can plan yourself. And at the end of the day, it will help you, to lose weight. Okay, so I can see a comment here. I've heard, okay, someone says, don't eat eba at all. Maybe you answer that for us shortly. I've heard that most of the fruits and veggies in ShopRite and most supermarkets are genetically modified. How true is this? How do you know those organic fruits? So talking about, do you want to say something about that, Ms. Owolabi?
Well, recently what I'm doing gradually, do you know that you can plant celery? I learned 6 celery. I now have celery in my garden. So what I'm trying to do gradually, I'm trying to see, and I want to extend to cucumber. I know cucumber also can be planted. So I have a feeling, I have a wuro. Well, to the best of my, I have friends though in this journey, and we keep doing a kind of mini research on where we can get organic fruits. So as much as possible, in fact, these days, it's like I have a friend who is trying to get some of those fruits for me from down the north. We get it and we take it within the period that we can take it. Well, that's the best we can do, but at least we can extend to trying to plant. In fact, it's my coach that told me that we can plant some of these things. And once you plant it, you are the one, it's in your garden. You're not going to put anything that is injurious to you. So that's the best we can do for ourselves.
Yes, I agree with you, Ma, because sometimes we get a bit confused when you hear people saying, oh, this is genetically modified. Do you know that even this meat that we're eating, some of those meats, they're also genetically modified? So many things, many things that we get off the shelf they have a lot of preservatives, they have a lot of chemicals, they have a lot of stuff, but we just accept those things with thanksgiving and get wisdom, to know where to get what is best for you, and if possible, plant. I think that's the best thing, really, to try and plant or buy from people that plant. And that's why we need to still encourage agriculture in our country. We need to encourage more people to farm, but people are running away from the farms and running to the city. But we hope that we'll be able to keep alive, the agricultural produce, so that we don't discover that as we are being told not to import things, then we now discover that the prices of all the things that we have here are now going high. There's something that you mentioned, Ma, and I want to harp on that. You said you take bread sparingly. I was telling someone today that, do you know that bread is junk food? Bread is as much of junk food like meat pie and sausage and all that, because it's flour. It's flour that is in there, flour, butter, sugar, and that is not whole food, it's refined. So for people that love bread, if you've been struggling to lose weight, bread might be a problem, if you take bread practically every day. So if you really want to lose weight, bread is one of the things that you need to take maybe occasionally. I tell people, maybe bread, I might not take bread in weeks. 1 week, 2 weeks go by, I don't remember that there's something called bread. So it's flour-based. Things that are flour-based, that are sugar-based, they cause inflammation. They cause weight gain. They have effects on our heart and our blood vessels. So we need to avoid that. So I'm glad you also mentioned, Ma, that you go for more of ofada than white rice. Yes, because ofada, basmati, brown rice, they have more fiber in them. So the fiber content controls the way in which the carbohydrates or the glucose enters your bloodstream. So, but if you are taking white rice, the glycemic index of white rice is very high, at about 84. So as you are eating it, it's entering your bloodstream, right away. And so you find out that even soon after eating, you might feel hungry. Maybe within another 1 or 2 hours after eating that high caloric meal, you feel hungry because the calories are empty. They enter your bloodstream so fast, and except to eat a very large quantity, you won't feel full. But if you take things like ofada, brown rice, they leave you fuller for a longer time because of the fiber content, and it gets released into your bloodstream just gradually, and the curve, instead of you to have a curve that goes up like this when you take white rice and then crashes not too long after, you have a curve that goes up gradually, and comes down, gradually. So those are some of the things I picked from what you said. There was something that you also mentioned earlier. You talked about this Christian mother arms, the flabby folds, Christian mother arms. So yes, when we exercise regularly, those are some of the things that, change after a while, especially if you are doing stretches. So, we have different types of exercises. We have aerobics, we have muscle strengthening exercises. So when we're talking about aerobics, we're talking about brisk walking, skipping, jogging, things that increase the pace of your heart, that's the heartbeat, and make you breathe faster. Those are aerobics. So you increase the oxygen consumption of your heart at that time. But we also have muscle strengthening exercises. That means you're on one spot, maybe you're doing some jumping jacks, you're doing arm raises, leg lifts. So those will strengthen your muscle, and they will increase the tone also in your arms and in your thighs. And those will also help to stabilize your knee and reduce your risk of arthritis, and by increasing the stability of the knees. So there's so much that we can gain, from doing these exercises regularly. It's important to be consistent. When we're consistent, then over time, it pays. It pays, and we see the results. So I don't know if we have any questions. I can't see any more in the chat box. Do we have any, does anybody want to ask a question? You want to wave or raise your hand or contribute? Some people joined us after the initial introduction and welcome. I want to say thank you for joining us. This is Lifestyle Champions International. We're having a Boost Your Confidence session for the month of October, wherein we invite someone who has made some life-changing decisions as regards healthy choices, in regards to food, in regards to drink, in regards to sleep, exercise, and sometimes it might even have to do with your relationships, because all these are pillars of a healthy lifestyle. So we just listened to Mrs. Owolabi share her experience, how she has adopted healthy lifestyles and how she has been consistently making healthy choices when it comes to her meals. She eats fruits and vegetables every day. She avoids late meals. Her latest meal is usually by 6:30 p.m. And she exercises every day. And she has noticed an improvement in her digestion, whereas she used to have a lot of indigestion before. She lost weight. She lost about 6 kg, but aside from that, she's still not giving up. She talked about the size of her arms. Before it was quite flabby, but now she's discovered that the tone is better. She feels lighter, she feels fit, she feels happier. And what more can you ask for? Our bodies are the temple of the living God, bought with a price. So we must honor God with our bodies by feeding our bodies with what will help us, to age gracefully. So welcome. If we don't have any questions, we'll be calling it a day because we don't want to keep you. We know you've had quite a busy day. Do you have any additions for us, Ma?
I think somebody asked about whether I take a bath.
Oh, yes.
Our cassava-based food, I'm referring to a bath.
Yes, so you can go ahead.
Okay. Well, I must say that I'm not a fan of a bath. Neither do I even love fufu at all. I don't love fufu at all, and I can never eat this white tamale. No, I don't eat such things. But once in a while, I can say once in a while, but sometimes, like I just came back from Abuja now, from what they offered, eba is still one of the things that's better. So I've taken eba all the week throughout. So but now I just told myself, once I get back home, I need to go and cleanse myself. There's a way I do that. I will go for parsley, celery, just carrots, cucumber. I just put it in water and sip all day. Because it doesn't mean that it's not good. Eba is good, but personally, I don't like eba. I don't like eba. But then I will say it's good. And of course, I'm going to allow Dr. Ori to talk about that because she's the one that is leading all of us to better life and to make better changes in our lifestyle. Well, the only thing that I needed to add is some bodily exercise profited a little. I must say this, that we need to work on our relationship with God and with all men. If we are at peace with God and we are peace with all men, I used to tell my people, for example, the number of well, let me put it this way. I oversee a college with 2 satellite campuses. I'm a very busy woman, and the number of students I have now, they are more than 1,000 across all those 3 campuses, and I have a lot of staff members. Human beings, they are the most difficult to handle. But there's one thing I tell myself, and I also tell them. I tell them, before you offend me, I've forgiven you. No, sir, Provost Ma, sorry, I don't even need that. To offend this woman, to forgive is divine. And if God has forgiven me, who am I to hold you? So I do that a lot. And I will also encourage us to do that. Be at peace with all men. That's going to help you. Because sometimes you are keeping some people in mind, or some people did something to you. In fact, from the day when I got to know from scripture that you don't get offended, because getting offended is like you are opening a door for the devil to oppress you. From that day on, I don't keep any offense. Once you do anything, I say my own and I move ahead. How many people will I even be fighting? Is it 1,000 people, students, or so X number of people in that campus, that campus? So that is going to help us, because some of the little things are the things that stress us, actually, not the big things. So as we are working on exercise, working on our meal, we also need to work on our relationship. And of course, make it let's invest a lot in our prayer life. Prayer can help you to solve so many things, because there are some things that you don't even need. You take some decisions that at the end of the day, you end up in trouble. So all of this also, they are very important. Not only exercising, but also our relationship with God and with all men. Thank you.
Thank you, Ma. That is even the most important thing of all. Our relationship with God is the most important thing. So we shouldn't neglect it. We should do our best to maintain communion with God. And when we worship God, it improves our well-being as well. So thanks for bringing that to our notice. We must keep peace with God and with all men. Actually, when we have malice, when we have anger, unsettled issues, they manifest even physically. And there are some people who have discovered that once they're able to forgive and let go, their blood pressure even just settles. So we cannot deny that aspect of the impact of our relationships, healthy relationships on our health. Okay, do we have any more questions, any more comments? Okay, so yes, in response to that question, are cassava-based foods not good? I'm referring to fufu, eba, and starch. So we are not going to say that there are any foods that are not good. You know, what we normally encourage is that we take whole foods, whole grains, predominantly plant-based, anything that is grown from the ground that hasn't gone through so much processing. So when our foods are actually processed locally, they are better than the ones that go through a lot of, factories and all of that. Even though, of course, we too are trying to upgrade some of our processing, but there are still ways in which they are processed minimally. So our EBA, the issue that I think we have in our nation or in our own environment, our culture with some of these foods is the quantity that we take. You know, you see people with such a large amount of EBA and starch and all that, and they sit down and they finish it, you know, but we don't need as much as we consume. So these are staple foods. We can't say don't take your staple foods, but please, you need to reduce the quantity. And if you train yourself, you know, to take a minimal quantity of those foods, you find out that when you've taken a full boluses, you are full already. You just make sure you have enough vegetables, you know, and protein in your plate. So you don't need to take so much of those swallows. For me, I still take swallow, but when I take it, in fact, what I take is maybe half of my fist. And, you know, by the time I take a few boluses, you know, it's a mindset, I'm fine. I just drink a lot of water, eat the vegetable, eat the fish, you know, take any other fruit and all that. So the less of it we take, the better, because what happens also with those swallow is that they are coming from cassava, they're coming from yam. So the more stickier the food is, the more or the higher the glycemic index, the faster the rate at which it enters your bloodstream. So if you're taking a lot of it, that means a larger quantity of glucose will be hitting your bloodstream very quickly. And like we shared during the webinar we had on healthy eating sometime last year, when you have a lot of insulin flooding your system, like that to mop up the glucose, then there's a greater likelihood to put on weight. Maybe not for everyone, but we are likely to put on more weight when you have a lot of insulin just flooding your system all the time to try to mop up the glucose. All right. What's your take on wheat swallow? So they are all in the same category. Some people say they want to take wheat over eba and over amala. They're practically the same because it has been blended already. You know, it's been blended, it's powdered. So they're practically within the same category as people who are taking eba or amala. It's just that wheat contains a bit more protein, you know, than the others, but they're all in the same category. So you could really get bored if you want to be taking wheat all the time, wheat-based product. It's also carbohydrates. It's just like it contains a bit more protein than corn and maybe other grains that we have. Okay, I hope that answers our question. I think we're going to round up now. So I want to really say thank you to everyone for being here this evening. Do you have any final comments, Ma, before we call it a day?
Well, on the final notes, I just want to appreciate God for the life of the champion that is championing this cause, Lifestyle Champion International, our head. You are doing a great job because when you show people the paths to long enjoy the labor of their hands, you don't know what you are doing. So I also want to encourage all of us too that you tell your friends about this and encourage them also to begin to modify their lifestyle, because that's to me is a duty that we owe ourselves. We owe ourselves that duty, and it's good for us to do it so that we will be glorifying God in our temple, because the temple of God, we are the temple of the Lord. We should not allow anything that is defiling to defile us. So it's our no one will do that for us anyway. That's our responsibility. So we need to keep working at it. If it seems that you are not seeing any visible changes, keep at it. At least it took me years. I started doing little to exercise before I get in touch or in contact with Lifestyle Champion International. And the amount of money I spend on buying drugs, you know, all manner of things, and now put my money to eat fruits and eat healthy, which is good for me. So join us, let your friend join us so that we will all live healthy together. Thank you for having me, Dr. Ori. I appreciate you.
Thank you,
everybody, for taking out time to join this section.
Thank you so much, Ma. We are highly honored that you accepted our invitation and that you're willing to share your story. We're so elated, we're encouraged. So I want to invite anyone who is on the call tonight. Maybe you are not part of any of our groups. We have a WhatsApp group, and it's actually a challenge group. So we're looking at starting out on a challenge, you know, before the end of the year, like at least like a 60-day challenge, you know, to encourage us to make those choices every day. So if you really want to be a part of it, please leave your email in the chat box before we go, so that we can get across to you, so that you can join that group. So thank you so much once again for being here. We really appreciate you all. And I pray that all of us can make the changes and fulfill all the goals that we have. So till we come your way again, continue to choose life. Have a good night. Don't forget to drop your emails if you want to receive any further feedback from us.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Have a good night.